What's
Hey,
the word? How you doing?
happy Thursday, brother. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing very well. Thanks
Oh,
for asking.
see, at
Yeah.
least one of us are. I've had a very uh, challenging couple of days.
Hmm.
You know,
I hear you. It's funny, right? It's when you go through these difficult times, because I always like to tell people that our life inside of our shared experience has always been chaotic and full of crisis.
hmm
But you know, I learned to compartmentalize things down to like small important facts like you're alive, right?
hmm
You healthy.
hmm
You ain't got no so you really ain't got no problems, truly. You
hmm
know what I mean?
hmm
If those two things are true, you know what I mean?
hmm
But I mean the other stuff is just just the illusionary attachments, but go on. What was you gonna say?
Well, but I remember we talked about this one time where you said um, let your health be problematic, and then you'll see how much other things don't matter. And I think a lot of what happened this week were you know I mean, it was listen, let me give you, I got 5 fingers and I have 5 problems. So
All right, tell me.
the first finger is one of my good friends, and I think you remember her, Shay's the one that had leukemia. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember. Oh, she was at
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
you've met her
yeah,
a couple times. So she survived
yeah.
leukemia. It was a really like a 2.5, 3 year battle. She's doing well. Guess what? Her
Mm.
mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Her mom?
Her mother.
Wow.
Yeah. So in the same week, another one of my friends I went to college with, I found out that she was diagnosed with breast cancer and was scheduled for her mastectomy. And then followed by chemo, and we did like the food chain. In the same week, my son had his health diagnosis. In the
Mm.
same week, one of my sorors passed away, who was such a big contributor of the group chat. Nobody knows uh, what happened. She was here one day, people were talking to her, and gone the next.
Mm.
And then in the same week, it's been cluster fire after cluster fire after cluster fire in this new role. So if
Mm.
I had 5 fingers, there's just been challenges. But what I think that kind of illustrates is we're human and we're always going to have challenges, and then how do you bounce back from that? Because there are some people who are not bouncing back from many of those challenges. And I'm reminded
Mm.
of that Professor Arde. Did you hear about that professor that was attacked for plagiarism? And
No, I haven't heard that. I've been kind of unplugged, because it's been busy in my realm. So I just been focused on my microcosm. But tell me, what's up with this professor? What'd he do?
where do you live? You like live in a bubble? Yeah,
I live inside the little empire we building right now. It's
Dear Lord, you got to get out a little bit. I mean, we're all busy, but dang. So lots happening in the world. So there was this.
yo. Hey, did I lose the audio? Yeah, frozen, frozen in time. It really is a lot going on there. Wow.
Okay, you're back. You're back. You're back.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you now.
What was that? Like who?
Oh
What?
no, I said somebody put you on pause for a minute.
What demonic spirit did not like that?
There
Yeah,
you go.
they over
Well,
here. Look, they over here telling us that we can't talk about our problems in the rose garden. Froze us up. So Professor Arde was diagnosed with the spectrum, and it was neurodivergent, but had developmental delays from early childhood. Couldn't speak for many years, but still completed his education, and was one of the youngest people to earn his doctoral degree. So he had was given a professorship at Oxford
hmm
University, and um, another. person. I don't know exactly what his name is, or I don't even, I do know his name, but I believe he got his PhD after him, like went on this kind of brutal attack because there were supposed he was suspected of making plagiarizing his dissertation. And
Okay. Mhm.
plagiarism in academia is a big thing because, a big part of what how you become a professor and stuff is you're contributing to original thought. And
Mhm.
so there's this thing called like publish or perish. And so your publications really have a significant amount of value to who you are as a professional, and then also who you, what you represent. So there was really a very deliberate attack, on him, and uh, he wasn't able to bounce back, um, and
What was the accusation?
about the plagiarism. And so,
Okay. Mhm.
so, um,
Why you
so,
couldn't bounce back from that?
well, it
What
was
was the
relentless.
roadblock?
It
Mm,
was relentless. I think there was this smear campaign, um, and he where there was like more than 20 articles published in like a 1 month period about his character,
mhm,
his cognitive abilities, all these other things. And so he ended up dying by suicide,
mm.
and leaving a young family, behind. And just the pressure of that academic assault was, and of which he had never ever been proven guilty of or found that he actually plagiarized. And the errors that they did find, he gave justifications for how they were errors, and they certainly weren't egregious. But when someone's attacking your character, your cognitive ability, your humanity, it's really, really, really hard to um, uh, kind of bounce back from. And he didn't bounce back from it. Mm,
Man, that's so interesting because there's this thing called, I don't know if you ever uh, have read this Art of War,
mm,
but in the Art of War, it talks about, yeah, Sun Tzu. It talks about how, if you're attached to your self-image, what I mean, basically, if you're a man that's honorable, then you can get done apart by people assassinating or attacking your character because you're so attached to that. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm.
Or if you're, so if you're leaning into a certain type of direction, got a level of control and power over you. You know,
Yes, yes.
yeah. So that's what it sounds like happened in this situation where it's so important for this guy to be seen in a certain type of way, by the public. And if they attacking him in that kind of way, then yeah, I can see how that was overwhelming for
But remember, he's also different cognitively. He was on the
him.
spectrum, and so I don't know that it was just one area of being seen, but he
Hmm.
somebody who had developed severe developmental delays. So I think being valued and being loved and being appreciated by others, especially when there's a difference, is so important. Like,
Hmm.
um, think about it when you lose a limb or something like that. It changes your trajectory, or have some kind of disability. It really changes your trajectory. And I think, um, it mattered to him to be valued and loved. And I do think that, from a human perspective, people can take but so much, right? So
Hmm.
I'm reminded of this story where somebody called this woman. It's like a movie or a story where this lady was beautiful, but every day people were like, "You're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly. Your face is, you." It was in a society where everybody had like pig nose. You've seen this before, I think. And then she was the one person that didn't have the pig nose, but everybody called her ugly and ugly and ugly, and every day. And finally, she mutilated her nose. So I think that's kind of the same kind of thing when you are relentlessly attacked, when every day there's not an easing up of the story or the narrative. And I can relate to that because that's something that I'm going through now. I'm in a new leadership role that some of the people in the company also wanted to be in those roles, and that change, there is a healthy reaction to change, but there's also people are going to be unhappy about it. And there's been a relentless, like when I say I've only been there since April, I mean, since the end of May, since that time, there has literally been a relentlessness about some of these people's attack on who I am, what I'm doing, and what I'm saying. And eventually, today was the first day where I was like, I need a break from this people stuff. I need to
Hmm.
push away from it. So even the strongest people, our tolerance it cannot be unending. It does need to stop. You need people to jump in and help you. Um,
Well, it's interesting, right? Because that whole thing about like leadership, right? New leadership. I think that definitely there's always resistance in that, and people feel that in multiple different ways. But let's just say you look at the presidential administration right now, like that dude ain't really popular, um, you know, globally, right? In the sense of people aligning with his policies, right? But he don't give a damn. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
then you take. I think of this also, in a smaller picture of it. If you joining a family, let's just say a man meet a woman and she got a gang of kids, right? And he moving in there with her, and he become like an authority figure because he a parent, over her kids, right? Then if you position in a person in a position of authority, most of the time is resistance to it, especially when you're a new person. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
but
just imagine a man coming into that situation and the kids being like, they like, this our house. You
right,
know what I mean?
and that
You talk about
happens.
stop jumping off the couch and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right,
We been jumping off the couch in the beds and stuff. You know what I mean? We ain't
well,
had to go to bed before at 8:30 and stuff. We don't have to. We wasn't calling you know
well,
people aunt and uncle, mister and stuff before you came. You know what I mean?
Well, from there is things that we know from a change management perspective of how to ease those growth things. And I think if we look back and um, you know, think about what's the better way, especially from an interpersonal perspective. So two things are happening when a woman is introducing a new partner in her own relationship, but also a second parent is, and when you have, and I parents are going to hate to hear this, but this might be nails on chalkboard for you, but when you bring somebody in, you also have to get the buy-in of the people that you're going to be, potentially being a dad or a sister or whatever to. So I think people often struggle with that. I know, like from some of the stories I hear where people hide their man until they get a ring or something. Well, you done had months and months and months of time to build relationship, create
Right, right.
um,
Mm,
dialogue about a shared agreement, all this stuff, and that
mhm.
person doesn't get the same opportunity because then by the time you are getting a ring, there's a whole bunch of other expectations behind it. So I would say, making sure that you have the right introduction is important, and you need to know what people need. So like, do kids need correction on jumping on couches? I just read somewhere that, when you have a busy child that explores, writes on walls, you actually have somebody who feels very safe in their environment. Now, almost every parent, and probably yourself, would be upset about having your child write on the wall, right? But that's nothing that can't be fixed or repaired by paint. And
But it costs money though. You know what I'm saying? So so if people want to do that, that's coming out of your allowance or your education fund then, since you feel so comfortable doing this, you know what I
well, well, well,
mean?
paint is different than a hole in the wall, right? And then why not then direct that curiosity into something that's more functional? Because what we do is we get in these terrible power dynamics with our children and with
Mhm,
the people that are around us, and we lose the opportunity to connect and to get to know. And I think
mhm,
that
mhm,
that's the problem, is that everybody is so egoic. We're
mhm.
all living and breathing on our own ego. And that is so difficult. I would say, because that
But
is the least developed part of who we are.
but certain things are just the natural order of things, right? Because certain things I just don't. Yeah, but you're right though in terms of the ego, because I do think that the ego dimension in any human being is the loudest, right? So that's
Mhm,
the one that is has the most focus most of the time. But acceptance of what is where I'm coming from, right? Because let's just say, those people who didn't vote for a person that's assuming a public role of leadership,
mhm,
they still have to, they still are affected by the decisions and actions that person does. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm.
So in a certain type of way, you got to accept it, the reality of what it is, right? And
But that's
you know,
different than accepting a new man into your life.
oh, it's all the same. It's like relative, it's the same. Because I think that if you, to your point, right? I think there's a right and wrong way to do things. If you've been dating a person and it got serious enough that you about to bring them into a space where your children are, and your children haven't met them, there's something already fundamentally wrong with that. You know what
Mhm,
I mean? There's
mhm,
something wrong with that. But I do see how getting the children's approval on it might not be 100% appropriate because, um, you might got some baby kid, unruly kids, you know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna accept no person, right? That come in because they don't want nobody to upset what's going on up in here, right? So, you could get a person that's good. It's this white dude that has this series of he an older white dude, right? I
mhm,
forget his name, is escaping me now, but he has this like self-help series,
mhm,
and he was talking about his own story. And he had a brother. I think he was uh, the older brother. It was two of them, and his mother left that family, so she left the two boys with the father at a very young age, and the boys were quote unquote bad boys. You know what I mean? And
So
they
she's like,
was out there.
"Hey, boy, you
so
do it."
so their own mother left them, right?
Mhm,
And this boy, he's this man is telling his personal story, and he's saying that his father ended up meeting another woman that he married, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
this woman, he said he had made up in his mind before he met the woman he wasn't going to like her, right? And he said it was partially some influence by other family members, like on the father's side, and
mhm.
also him and his brother. They were like, we ain't gonna like this chick when she come in or whatever. Well, it was crazy because he said that this woman essentially became the most influential person in his life as a female.
Wow.
And he said day one when she came, when he was ready to, give her the devil in hell, she had heard about him.
Mhm.
So this is he's first meeting her. His father did it the wrong way. Like they hadn't met her. They met her when she's moving in, right? And
Wow,
so
that is the wrong
yeah,
way.
that's the wrong way. And they are hell bent on giving her hell. So when she's moving in and the father's introducing them, he said she melted his heart right away from the gate because he said she came up to him and grabbed his cheeks, like caressed both his cheeks with her hand, and she said, this isn't the bad boy I hear about. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
wow.
you know what I mean? And all this stuff. And he said that just who she was, how she came about into that situation. He just came to love and respect her and trust her. You
Mhm.
know, so but like I say, his heart was oriented different initially. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I do think like people could, if you're a good enough person, like you can melt that thing down. You know what I
But
mean?
you
But
know, always talking about these good enough people. You know, there are really some scoundrels in the world, and then there are some people that really choose
100, there are some.
that they
There's
are
some definite scoundrels.
and they don't mind. And I'm gonna tell you, there is a type. I've noticed that there's a type. I think there's
Mhm.
a like I think it's very interesting when
Mhm. Mhm.
people come to you and the introduction is what they do and not who they are. Have you had
Hmm.
these situations where somebody's like, "Hi, my name is Bill and I'm a lawyer." And I'm like,
Well, I think a bunch of people, like, if you get a room of even professionals together, and they say, tell us, just 15, 30 seconds, tell us who you are. I think people have a hard time of really explaining who they truthfully are, because
mhm,
most of the time when they talk about who they are, it is about,
it's wrapped
you
up in
know,
things.
yeah, they're things like, like, well, I am the CEO of this, or this or that, but it's nothing, you know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm,
Truthfully, in regards to like who you really are, you know,
mhm.
you do your job, but you ain't your job.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind
So
of
let's model it for 'em, brother. So, because all
yeah.
these poor little women's moving the men's in the house and all these poor. So let's model for 'em, brother. What would be the ideal approach? And then I'm gonna make this even a little bit more challenging. Is not just the ideal approach, but then how once we've done the moving in and getting to know, how do you think that they should deal with conflict? And I,
That's a good point.
because conflict is inevitable. It comes
Yeah,
with
100%. I think it definitely comes. Well, first off, I think that, this whole process, it fundamentally, like, it's basic, right? Because the whole process of getting to know each other, right, is getting to know what's in one person's universe and world and what's in the other. So you got to expose each other completely to it. I think it's a red flag off the break if, one person hasn't actually done that. If
so what you're
you've never
saying.
met that
You
person's
meet a woman,
family.
say, I got 4 kids.
Yeah, well, let's just say yeah, you gotta in some way meet these kids, right? Especially
But
if it's
do
gonna
you
be
do it at the first date?
well, I mean, this is the thing. Like I think like some people like they date for sport, for recreation. You feel me? It's
Okay.
like
Okay.
but they going on a date so they can get the free meal, free drinks, you know what I'm saying? And then also just the worship, make them feel like a goddess or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the attention or whatever. But if you ain't dating for sport, like the old school tradition was that a man saw you, wanted you, came and asked your peoples, expressed what his intention and interest was, got approval from your people, and then moved on like that, right?
Boy,
So I'm
what
saying that
archaic. That is you. What are you talking about? Go.
that's the ideal old way, traditional way, right?
So you
But I
think
do I do know like it altered in time because like people, first of all, like I think this is again a thing. Like most women want a man to approach them, right?
yes, I
Yeah.
would
So the reason why
most
that
men want
is
to approach the woman. Don't make it about women. Most
no,
men,
no, no. Most men, I don't know about that because I think like if a woman
we need
fell
a
out,
poll. We need
well,
a
I can tell you 100%. If most men, if they, even they, so let's just say we creatures that could be tempted, right?
mhm, mhm.
So you could be a solid man where you really love your girl and all this stuff, right?
Okay.
But then you sitting outside, on a nice summer day, enjoying this little gentle breeze, and then God just drop a female in your lap out of nowhere. I
Is
think
that what happens
most men
to
would
you?
have a hard time, even if you was
Is that what
completely
happens?
committed to something.
I mean, because what you just described is some mystical, magical, and all of a sudden I just turned
No,
my.
but it's like that though. Even though I
It's
described
never.
it like that, it's like
It's
that because
never
like
like that. It's
you know
not
how you
like
said like
that.
a man want to go up to a woman. I don't think a man. It's not a want to. It's the tradition is that's what a man's supposed to do. But I think women also believe like I'm not going to talk to that man. The man, if the man want me, then he got to come approach me. Now the whole thing in that, right? Because I do see value in that tradition. But the whole thing in that is the woman is projecting something of value in
Hmm.
her qualities, right? So the man has spotted her qualities, right, in a character. and then he desires this. You feel me?
Mhm.
Now, some of that could be beauty, right? Because that's a quality in and of itself. And for some, that might just be it. It's just like she beautiful. I'm gonna go try to holler at her or whatever. But in that though, there's a valuable value, a perceived value that the woman is projecting, right? So the
Mhm.
reason why subconsciously y'all want that, because y'all want to believe that y'all valuable. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I do think, like, not for nothing, like every human being, you know, is precious, and they got some inherent value to
Well,
them.
you ain't answered the question yet.
But
What's
it
the
ain't no
for
real. It
men to
ain't. I am answering the question. Y'all girls want a dude to come holler at y'all because y'all think y'all valuable. Y'all think y'all diamonds. You
and
know
what
what I
about
mean?
you? You don't think
But
men carry their own
but if a man does do that, then he does see value in you. So
value? Okay.
like out right out the gate in that initial exchange, then the natural traditional thing has occurred, right?
Mhm.
Value is being projected, value is being perceived, and the two connect, right? So that's usually how it would start in the traditional sense. Now in these day and age, everything is like digital and shit. People is faking who they are online and all this stuff on the dating apps and everything. You know, so they could fake that thing. They could fake this this uh this potential value, right? You look at a girl, you be thinking like, I want this certain type of girl. That ain't really who she is. So
So
now
our
the
producer has just said many
Mhm.
women potentially miss out on their soulmate, and he put that thing in quotes, simply because they don't want to approach the man first. If
100%.
you really fun, his suggestion is go get it.
And you know
I,
what?
I say
I
this.
100% agree with our
You
producer,
don't.
because
You do not
you
agree
know
with this.
why
You do
I
not
say
agree with
that.
this. You know
You know
why?
what?
Do not
You be
lie to
do
yourself.
you do it yourself, because I said to myself, like, a woman does go after the dude she wants. She does it
Excuse
in her
me.
own way. She tells the man that, you can have me
You
by
might tell.
putting yourself in proximity,
Yes, that's
sorting
happening.
out the
Not
dude,
going and saying, I want.
doing stuff to you, like making eye contact, doing all
That's
this kind
called
of stuff,
communication.
inviting them in, and welcoming them and drawing them in. Yeah, see, this is the enchantment, seductress stuff that
No,
women
that is
do
not. That is
to
called
men.
communication. Communication has two levels, those verbal and nonverbal. There are verbal parts and nonverbal parts of that communication. And certainly if
Hmm.
there's something you feel, but I think the I think women, and so this may be new news for women because it's certainly new news for me.
Hmm.
If there are some men that really have this, especially I think for black women, where there's this kind of um belief that we hold this dominance and masculine presence. I think if this is true, if what you say is true, and especially black women started going after the men, I think we'd hear more of you can't have two men in a relationship. Somebody got to be a man, because there's always this criticism that that black females in particular are too bold and too forward. So now you completely switching the game and telling everybody. And thank God the group chat is sad, because I bet you this thing would be popping right now. That now you're saying that, oh no, a man, we possibly missed out on our soulmate because we've taken this passive approach. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. See, I think that y'all women want it both ways. You want to be liberated, but then you want the man to come talk to you. You know what I mean? You
Uh-huh.
want to be independent, but then when you want the man to come change the light bulbs and fight off fight off a threat for you and stuff.
We do.
So
We
it's
want
kind of
to,
like, so the
and
thing is.
you want a woman to have mouth and then not mouth. So like, what's the solution? What is the solution? It seems like we all got to be flexible in moments, and it seems like the reality is what we're saying is, and we might have, really this conversation might have just cured the world. What we're saying is we got to sometimes step outside of ourselves and what we want, and put ourselves in other people's shoes, and take the perspective that we are all doing this human experience the best we can. And a part of being human and being the best human is being as authentic as we can. And I think that's the pitfall that women have when they're because again, women of our age are going to have some experience. So you using your used car analogy, love, you're not getting a brand new a Maserati out of anybody you're finding on the market right now.
Yeah, but see, like I think the thing about men, because I just seen like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, they like in their 80s and they got brand new babies from
Shameful.
women way younger than them. You know what I'm saying? So I think like for a man, this whole sense of time ain't as applicable to him
Well,
as it
I
is
do
to a
wanna I
woman.
would like to know the statistics on that. I would like to know if each
Oh
of those
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna send you some because I can show you like a
know
lot of men
what
in the
support and
lot
help
of
did they get? Did they do that with
lot of
blue
dignitary
pill
men
or
have
yellow
like
pill? Did they this
see
how
see
they had
now see now
it?
you're talking about like all this other stuff that don't mean nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Well,
talk about what
they
support and all this stuff. They don't care
don't
about that
have a
support.
blue pill or a yellow pill as women, right? But we can't
See
do the
now
same.
it's that you don't got that or whatever.
You
See
don't you don't
the
have it.
point is, but there's some things, our cousin Jason made this joke, right? He said his thing. He said, you born looking like your parents, but you die look looking like your choices. You know what I mean? Feel me? So I agree with that because the thing
Yeah.
is, what women want is for a man to not judge them for
Men want that
all the choices that they have made, right? So that's why, like, let's just say the body count conversation, right?
that you
So
all
what
give yourselves
women do
easier for.
not what y'all terrified. As soon as a man bring that up, y'all terrified of that
Well,
because
and you should be
that's
terrified
holding
too,
a woman, but a man ain't terrified of that thing because
because
that like because I think again
of
like and this,
misogyny
but wait, y'all want to blame this on society, not personal, right?
is right.
The thing is like you said before, the feeling of shame for what you've chosen to do, your own choices and actions. So why not now? Decided to because I do think like a lot of my beloved grandma Rose said this. Always remember that women have lots of
But
secrets.
she was trying to help you as you navigate your manhood. She was not
No,
trying
no, no. She was telling me, be careful because women have lots of secrets. I was so grateful for her for sharing that reality to me, right? Because it's so true. And I do think like the
to
pressure
do
is on a
men
woman to
have the secrets. Let's
most of the
let's
time
put
not.
this as a vulnerable moment. Have
Most of
you
the time
have
I've
you
seen it,
told
I've witnessed
100% of the truth in
I've
these
wit
are you
yes, yes,
100%
I've
look me
witnessed it
in my eye.
directly myself
Wait a minute.
personally.
Body
Like,
count only. Body count only.
mhm,
You don't have to admit nothing else on the show.
mhm,
And
mhm.
our time is coming to it. But body count only. And you are looking me in my eyes, and I have a lie detector. It's like the candle in there. You 100% of the time on introduction to females are honest about your body count.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, no, no,
Yes.
Absolutely. There's certain little joints I don't tell no lies on. You know what I mean? Like I don't tell no lies on my kids and I don't tell no lies on the stick. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this. At the end of the day, I don't want to lose none of them. You know what I mean? So I don't lie about them. You know what I mean? But I think but
Well, I
but
appreciate you're vulnerable. I will say this. I think many women wouldn't be appreciated the same way. So you have a privilege then as a man that a woman,
100%.
especially even
That's
as
where the
old
double
as you
standard
are,
favors us. You know what I mean?
as old as you are, that we know you all have all that high, you and I are both high mileage vehicles, right?
No, not me. I ain't Mohawk Miles. I'm vintage, yo. I've been kept in the garage and shit. You know what I'm saying? Zero, like up very low. Speak
You
for
in the garage.
yourself. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Well, I'm
Speak for
talking about just
yourself.
by age. You're not,
See, see, see,
you're a
see,
vintage package.
see, executive producer, how these joints do you. they always like try to attack you down somewhere. It got to be the age. It's got to be something. They talk about you need a pill. All this stuff,
Well,
right?
be
But
honest
they
about
but they
that
always try to they always try to they
problem
always try to assault the man's manhood and dignity.
because you're
Always,
not being honest.
always.
You know,
No,
you
you know what? You know
you see
why a woman is
50-year-old
doing
men as
that?
references, and you know the body. You're seeing it, you're living it, your body. Listen, your rotator cuff isn't even as good as it was when it was
Oh
16.
no, my
So,
thing is way better than it was back then. I think right now, if you talk to the producer and me both, is for me, like I feel stronger and stronger. And
but
every
that's
day in
fine.
every way,
The
I get
thought,
better and
He ain't
better.
lying.
the the thought
Yeah.
is there, but the actual production of it, the thought, I feel like I'm still a young, I don't feel a day past 16. But the actual truth of that is something different. To be backed up with, look, I had to carry the grandson, the oldest grandson, and I think he's 31 pounds now around this track. He just wanted his Nana. Praise God. Nana wanted him. But 31 pounds and my weight is a lot harder to do. So about halfway through, I handed him to his dad and said, "Son, you gotta take your baby because I can't take him." Now my grandboy cried, 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 cried. In my mind, I said I could do that without assistance.
You couldn't do that at 18, 19.
I could have done it at
You
18 and
could you couldn't do that then. I mean, you'd be thinking that you could do all these things because people be fantasizing and stuff, but I guarantee you, like right now, those things that thing is challenging for anybody at any age. You know what I mean?
but
Also,
you stronger.
yeah, but yeah, definitely. But I just say like also like when it come down to things, right? For y'all, and this is why for women, like y'all value it's just like a car, right? Like it's when it's brand new, and when you drive that thing off the lot, you
Lord
try
have
to turn it back. They talk about, man, you might have just drove it up the street. They won't even take it back for the same value. But I would say, like you guys, things happen to you. We was talking about it
and
last night
that's why
where
y'all got Cialis and
well, look, the thing that stuff don't happen to us like it does with y'all
yes,
in the
it
sense
does.
of this.
Actually, it's happening.
No,
Hey,
you know what I'm gonna tell you?
educate the
It,
public. There's
no,
30-year-old
I'm gonna tell
men
you.
on that Cialis.
I'm gonna tell you. Like what happened with y'all women is this: y'all get these babies and all that stuff, and it alters your body. You know what I'm saying? You can look at a woman that's had a baby next to a woman who hasn't, and you can see it sometimes. Like, damn, yeah, you can see.
But
So what I'm trying to
listen,
not that I'm diminishing it because like if you
diminishing
for
it.
for the man that you had the baby with, you would that man might look at you as beautiful because you've been the vessel that that his children have come through. But I'm just saying, like for your own self, the way you feel about your own self, I could see like your body's been altered, you this and this and that. That maybe a man don't ever have to go through. He don't gotta carry
Have
a
you
baby and get all fat and then have to
population?
deal with that thing
Get
again
that.
and all that
Are
stuff.
you looking at the population? There are more men out here with these big, uh, worn bellies that go over their belt than they than we often actually talk about, right? We have real issues with that. So
Hmm.
I think though the moral of the story though is people are still using just one part of their senses, and we're over sexualizing people, male and females, and we should do a
But
better.
that's what we animals. I don't know why we think we so above everything that we can't sexualize because that's the whole purpose of how we
That is
ensure
not
the
the
species.
whole
The
moral.
whole the whole purpose of how we ensure our species thrives is
Is
through sexualizing each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's a huge part of it. And I think like there you
survival
know,
can take so many
our
ways.
species don't carry on by appreciating each other mentally. You know what I mean? It don't carry on like that. We have to sexualize each other for it. But I think that you have to
Okay,
love yourself and
I'll give
preserve
you that.
yourself. You have to do
So
that.
let's leave with that lesson
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know what, the group chat is quiet because there's we had a loss in the group chat. So I'm gonna wait till next week to spank you really hard and give you the attitude correction that you need. You are all It's always a joy to be hanging out in the Rose Garden with you.
Yeah,
This
100.
opportunity to have a refresh and a restart from the day. So I appreciate you, brother. Any last words?
Nah, I ain't got too many today. We got so much
Praise
ahead of us. I gotta focus on what's to come. So I ain't
Excellent.
really got too much today.
So don't destroy any lives with your blasphemous tongue. All right.
All right.